How many different kinds of Scotch whisky are there? Broadly speaking, there are two broad camps: single whiskies and blended whiskies. Within the single whisky category, you have two kinds: single grain whiskies and single malt whiskies. Simply the product of a single distillery, an individual distillery. So here I have three single malt whiskies from Bowmore Distillery, from Auchentoshan Distillery, and from Glengarry Distillery. There are a handful, in fact, to be precise, there are three only generally available single grain whiskies from Cameron Bridge Distillery, from Invergordon Distillery, and one from Girvan Distillery, which is called Black Barrel, but they're not common. If you mix a number of single malt whiskies together, they become a blended malt. This is an example, an uncommon example, which I think is only sold in export markets, but this is called a blended malt. Until recently it was known also as a vatted malt or a pure malt, but if it says, as this one does on the label, pure malt, it means it's a mixture of a number of malt whiskies. It's not a single, it's a mixed whiskey, a blended whiskey, but a blended malt whiskey. Now, the third category, there is such a thing as a blended grain whiskey, but frankly, you never see it. The biggest category of all is blended Scotch whisky, which is simply a mix of many malt whiskies and some grain whiskies, typically in a proportion 60-40 in favor of grain. So 60 parts grain in a good a premium blend to 40 parts malt. And there might be between 14 and 40 different malt whiskies in the mix. And interesting enough, blenders will tell you that you cannot make a successful blended Scotch with only one grain. So there'll be two or three. There are only 6 currently operating grain whisky distilleries in Scotland, whereas there are 100, exactly 100 operating malt distilleries. So all the famous brand names, Johnny Walker, Famous Grouse, Bell's, J&B, these are all blended Scotches, and they account for approximately 93% of all the Scotch whisky sold around the world. So only a very small amount, relatively speaking, is available as single malt.